This is the SuperSport Schools podcast, bringing you stories of our future stars, powered by Spur Steak Ranchers.
1, 2, 3, go!
Hello and welcome to another episode of the SuperSport Schools podcast brought to you by Spur. Now, over the past year, in a couple of our episodes, we featured some future stars of football that have either gone pro while still in school or just afterwards, like Matteo Horsted and Chandre Campbell. Today, we're adding another name to that list. I'm joined by Kegan Johannes. Kegan, welcome to the show. Thanks so much for being here. I think just to start off, if you could introduce yourself in a couple sentences.
Thank you. Hi guys, so my name is Kegan Johannes. I'm a professional footballer for Mamelodi Sundowns and a UnderArmour ambassador.
We're going to talk about all of that today, but I want to go all the way back to the start. Football, when did you decide that this was your sport growing up? What was that whole process like when you thought, I want to play this and I want to take it far?
To be honest, I didn't even decide. It was just like I was born with it. I was born to do it. Growing up, football's always been a part of my daily life. All I knew was football. My family, all sports, active. My grandfather, my uncles, they all play. So it's in the family, you know. So it wasn't something that was unfamiliar to me. So it was easy for me to get into it. And then that's where my love for football started, and just started in the road, playing in the road with other kids and grown-ups, you know. And then from there, it was just for the love of the game at that time. But then I think when it got to like 17, no, not even, I think before that, like 15 years old, that's when I realized as well, you know, this can be something. I can go far, you know, so yeah.
I think it's something that's quite interesting about football in South Africa that's maybe different to the other sports where people go pro, is that a lot of the time you'll join clubs early on or academies or things like that as opposed to necessarily playing at school. It's a bit different in KZN. They've got a really good school system going at the moment, but here in Gauteng, where we are as we record this, they have the Gauteng Development League, lots of clubs with their young teams playing. So for you, growing up in Cape Town, what was sort of the pathway that you took? Did you play at school or was it more the club side of things?
So in primary school, I played school soccer, but it was once a week. So it was usually on a Wednesday. And that was usually we would train club football, so it would be club and then soccer for school as well. So then on Tuesdays we train club, Wednesdays school, and then Thursdays club again. So usually we didn't even train at school. It would just be that you train with your club and then come play on the Wednesday, and that's how it was, you know. I think that time it was a bit unorganized to a point. Yeah. I think it's more organized now. And then as it developed as well, you know, into high school, I played some soccer as well, I think for the Motsepe Foundation, Motsepe League. So that helped as well, you know.
And then as you're sort of growing up, you mentioned that was primary school, but you do both school, club, all of that. Do you remember kind of at what age you were when you had your first coach, or sort of somebody who was there guiding you on how to play as opposed to just going out and having fun like kids usually do?
I think it got to a point where probably I was under 13 maybe. A coach named Edwin at the local club. I think he was the first one to be like, you know what, this is how you should play, do certain movements and things like that that would also develop you and that would help the team, you know. And that time it wasn't really about a position structure or something, but it was good. It was good, you know, having that experience at such a young age. I think that coach that we had at the time was good because he knew how to manage the kids, and I think that's something that we struggle with now. Sometimes the coaches, they always want to win, you know, and it takes a bit away from the development of the kids, you know. So yeah, I'm grateful that. And then at school, we also had obviously the school teacher that also had some assistance from someone outside that helped us as well. Because there it was like more of freedom with a sense of development as well. You know, it was to enjoy, but also to reach an objective.
Yeah, 100%. And you mentioned that initially with the coach, it was more kind of just the team as opposed to specific individual positions and specializing. At what point did you sort of decide that you were going to go defender route?
To be honest, it wasn't even my choice. Someone made it for me. So what had happened was when I joined the Ajax Academy, I was still playing up front, striker, on the wing, you know. And then what had happened was, because I was quite tall, taller than most of my teammates at the time.
Yeah.
I had an early growth spurt. And then I said, no, you know what, let's try at the back. And then I did well. And then that's just where I developed. And then going into first team football, when I was 17 years old, professional, and yeah, I played right back. And then that's where I think my professional career started.
Yeah, so that's you decided. I love how it was sort of you didn't decide, it just happened.
Yeah, I think I think I have to give props to my mom as well.
Okay.
Like,
yeah.
because usually parents, when you take their child and put them in another position, they're going to be like, what are you doing? My child doesn't play there. But my mom was all about, you know what, let's see where this goes. And it paid off for the better, you know. And I think that was maybe one of the best decisions that one of the coaches at the time made for me and for my career. Because I think if it wasn't for that decision, I think it would have been a bit different than what it is now.
100%. And at the time, let's go when you were younger, still in school, primary school, high school, was football the only sport, or were there other sports that you were involved in as well?
I was very athletic. So I used to do athletics for the school. Even at some point, I was playing tennis for the school, believe me or not. I was playing tennis. I even tried rugby a bit on high school, but I was like, nope, nope, too much
Not
tackling.
even full back, all the way at the back. Just have to catch and kick sometimes and tackle.
I
which
wanted to
guess-
play fly off at some
Okay,
point.
yeah.
But I was like, nope,
No.
can't get tackled, and like, let me just stay away from that. And then, yeah, I played cricket as well. At some point, I actually had to choose between cricket and soccer, because I had the opportunity to join the Western Province cricket team, but I was 15 or 16. And then I had to choose, and then I chose football because...
This is actually an interesting thing. Often when we get guys on and we talk to them about their journey to professional sport, or even just to the highest level of the sport that they're in, whether that's their school's first team, etc., often people have come up and have had to choose between two sports, and they're not necessarily very similar ones, like cricket, football. They're quite different sports. That you get someone like me who is just mediocre in everything, but then you're able to be good in cricket, good in football. Do you think they're sort of qualities that you have taken from cricket that have been useful for you in football?
I wouldn't...
Or are they just too different?
They're two different things.
Yeah.
I think it might just be the coordination, I think, in terms of lateral movements and things like that you can incorporate in both sports. But other than that, I think it's two completely different things.
And ultimately, what was it that you decided was the reason you're going to go football over cricket?
I think my love for the game, and I think also, if I have to be realistic, because I do come from a background where there wasn't funds and stuff like that, you know. So going into cricket, it's more an individual sport. So your parents have to pay a lot for traveling and all of those things. Whereas with football,
All the kit as well.
kit,
Yeah.
all those spikes and all those things. So with football, it's more sponsors. Like at Ajax, we had a lot of sponsors. So I used to get boots, transport, food, all those things. And that played a huge part as well. You know?
And let's talk about Ajax, because obviously you were part of the academy there. How did that come about, and what was the experience like there?
That was a fantastic journey. I think I went to a first touch program, and then my mom met an individual there and he advised my mom to take me to some tryouts that they had. And my mom and I used to train every Friday, I think, to Mitchell's Plain. I don't know how long the trip was. And then we take the last train back home. And that continued, I think, for 6 months to a year before I could actually join Ajax Cape Town, the academy. So it was a long process in order for me to get into the academy. And when I got there, I had to work even harder to stay there, you know, because they had evaluations and all those things. If you don't perform, you get cut at the end of the year. So it was a whole lot of development and just hard work.
Looking back now, obviously, I'm sure you think it was worth it and worth putting in that effort. Who would you say along your journey has motivated you, been there, supported you? You've already spoken about your mom, so I imagine she's someone who has.
Yeah, I think my mom's played a pivotal role. There's so many people that's played a pivotal role in my journey. A lot of people's contributed to that. If I were to mention names, it would be wrong of me, because then I'd miss some. I'd miss out some. But they know themselves, and I'm extremely grateful for everything that they've done for me, you know. Because if it wasn't for them, I don't think I would be here right now.
And we're going to talk about how you've gone, obviously, into Sundowns and your involvement with UnderArmour in a little bit. But first, we're going to play a game. And to go into the game, just to explain to you, it's not the quiz. We have a quiz coming up later. Okay. So you can, this is sort of the warm-up. Okay. So usually, people either do well in this or well in the quiz, not well in both. So it's one or the other.
Has anyone ever done bad in both?
In both. Not yet. Today. There's a first time for everything. Maybe. So this is the more or less game. I'm literally just going to give you basically a question, and the answer is either more or less, more or fewer, before, after. Like, it's a comparison, so you don't need to know exact answers. And we're going to start with, there's quite a lot of football in this one today, so we'll start with football. And this question is, has former Banyana captain Janine van Wyk played more or fewer international matches than former Bafana player Benny McCarthy?
More.
Yeah, that's correct. Oh, starting well. So she played 185 caps, which is the most of any South African footballer ever. And Benny was 79. So both lots of caps. Games, but they're starting strong. Before 2024, had South Africa won more or fewer than 90 Olympic medals?
More or fewer than
90 Olympic medals throughout all the years? Yeah.
I think fewer. It might be close, but I think fewer.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. No, you're smashing this so far. It is fewer. It's 89, so you're right. It is close. Hopefully, as the Olympics are underway now, we can add to that tally.
Add a bit, yeah. Okay,
cool. One that might be a little bit unfair, or maybe it's right up your alley. Were the Mamelodi Sundowns founded before or after 1990?
1990. Before.
Yeah, correct. 1970, 54 years ago.
Was it 70?
Yeah.
Yeah.
1970, yeah. 1970. Okay, 3 from 3. This is going very well. You were selling yourself. You were selling yourself too low. Banyana's biggest ever victory came against the Comores in 2019. But did they score more or fewer than 15 goals in that match?
Less. I think less than 15.
It was more.
More than 15?
17-0.
Wow. I did not know that.
No. Yeah, I'm not sure. That match, there would have been a goal every 3 minutes.
Yeah, wow.
So, yeah, chaos in that match, but 3 from 4, still good. Has Bafana played in the FIFA World Cup more or less than 4 times?
Less.
Yeah, correct. 3 times, 98, 2002, and 2010. Now we've got one that's not football, it's Olympic again. Has Wade van Niekerk won more or less than 2 Olympic medals?
Is it 2? I think it might be 2. I think it might.
What it isn't, it's not 2. I can tell you it's not 2.
Okay, then it's
either
less.
more or
it's less.
Yeah,
less.
Just one 2016, the gold for the 400 meters and the world record. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 so far. Lastly, have more or fewer than 2 nations ever won the Women's Africa Cup of Nations?
More or fewer?
Yeah. More or fewer than 2?
Won it twice?
No, just won it.
I think more.
Yeah. 3 countries have won: South Africa, Nigeria, and Guinea.
Yeah.
So there we go. Let me just check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so 6 from 7, which is very good. So yeah, you were setting yourself down here and you performed up here. So that was excellent. Are we going to see a new quiz high score at the end of the show?
I don't know.
Is that what you're telling me?
I don't want to get optimistic, but
Bringing you the sport you care about the most, this is the SuperSport Schools Podcast.
Come on, wake up now. Who got zombie? Wake up now. Sequilatos cat. Wake up now. Who got my sign? Get up and
With 15 delicious breakfasts, Spur is the place to be until 11 every morning. Enjoy an unreal breakfast for just $56.90. Spur, people with a taste for life.
wake up now. Come on, yeah.
Bringing you the sport you care about the most, this is the SuperSport Schools Podcast.
Well, let's talk about the fit. And there's just UnderArmour head to toe at the moment. Obviously, also UnderArmour, but you're even more UnderArmour. So signed with UnderArmour, 3-year deal, representing them. When you get signed as an athlete at such a young age, it obviously is a recognition that you're doing something right. So when you found out that this was all gonna happen, what were you kind of feeling?
I think I was excited because it's very rare, I think, that you get sponsorships, I think, in South Africa. So when I got the call to say that there's interest from the brand, and I was excited because it's a massive brand, you know, if you look at the brand. And it was an easy decision for me because I think as well their models and values align with mine, you know. I'm wanting to be the best. So it was quite an easy decision for me. I didn't even have to sit on it long, you know.
Yeah, well, we know at SuperSport Schools, obviously UnderArmour addresses us, and the crews out around the country who are bringing the live school sport all the time are wearing UnderArmour. So they're also good partners with us, and they love school sport. My question is, do you get to choose your kit and what you wear?
Yes. So I usually go into store and choose certain items that I like. And then also I get sent certain things that are being promoted and things like that. But I prefer it that way because if they send you certain things, now maybe it's not your size, or because certain things have different cuts. So if you go into store, you can just fit it on, and it makes life a bit easier, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah.
20 years ago, growing up in Cape Town, at any point did you think you wanted to go pro, that you'd be a sponsored athlete? When did that sort of become something that you thought was actually possible?
I think it became a reality for me at, I think, 16 years old when I started training with the first team. Because by then, I haven't really seen a lot of young players break through. It's usually you get your breakthrough at like 25. I got mine at 17. So I was fortunate enough. And that for me was an eye-opener, you know, to work hard. Because when I saw that the door is in front of me, all I have to do is just walk through it, which is obviously not as easy as, it's easier said than done. But that was a reality for me, you know, an eye-opener. So I could look at it and be like, you know, the opportunity's here. All you have to do is take it. And I took it with both hands and just ran with it.
Talking about taking things with both hands, this year, a couple of weeks ago actually, Mamelodi Sundowns signed there. Talk to me about the process when that started coming about, and also the feeling and the emotion with going along with that.
Man, I can't even tell you how I felt. Because the moment I found out, I called my mom. I told my mom about it. My mom was so excited. And then it was also not a difficult decision, because the club, it's one of the biggest clubs in Africa. I mean, they play in all the competitions. They're always winning. The culture at the club is winning. And for me, why wouldn't I want to be in an environment like that, where it's about growth, you know, for me, to grow as a footballer, to grow as a holistic human being, because I know the group of guys, very good guys. So it was easy for me.
Yeah. Let's talk then a bit about their style of play, because it's quite famous for the sort of quick, short passes along the ground, the shoeshine piano. How does that fit in with how you've sort of grown up playing, and is that something that excites you?
It is. It reminds me of, or it takes me back to my Ajax days. Because at Ajax we had that philosophy, you know, tiki-taka, they call it the tiki-taka. And it was obviously based off Johan Cruyff and Barcelona and all these fancy people and fancy things. But in essence, I think it's just enjoying the game. I think that's what football is about, you know, playing the beautiful game and enjoying it while doing that, you know, because there's a lot of things that comes with it, a lot of pressures and things like that. But if you're enjoying your football, I think everything else just becomes easier.
100%. And growing up, was there anybody that you sort of looked up to that inspired you to focus and get to the position you're in now?
Yeah. Steven Gerrard was one of the guys.
Stevie G.
Sergio Ramos, and then most recent, I think, Trent Alexander-Arnold. Because at fullback, I think we play more or less similar, you know. And he was an UnderArmour athlete as well.
So there's lots of connections and parallels coming in there.
Yeah.
That's really cool. And that you've got to it now, just a couple years out of school, signed for Mamelodi Sundowns. And did you ever think it would happen this quickly? Was that a goal?
Honestly, I didn't think it would happen as early as it did. But actually, I sat back in the week and I was like, I've been so fortunate, you know, I've been blessed to have a lot of things happen in my life quite early. You know, I've experienced so much at such a young age. So it wasn't really a surprise, you know. They say when God opens a door, no one else can shut it. And that just, I'm just a testimony of that, I think.
Amazing. And then if you want to talk to other young people in this country, because there are so many people who play football, it has by far the lowest barrier of entry of any of the sports. And often people are playing without even a football or soccer ball. It's just something vaguely round that they're kicking around. And like you said, in the streets, wherever they can find space, they're playing. And we have really competitive professional soccer in this country. We have the most clubs of any country in the world. What are your words of advice to anyone, youngsters who also want to play for a club one day, represent the country? What would you say?
I think I would tell the young ones that it's possible, you know. Your circumstances doesn't determine where you are headed in life. Things might not always go well. You're going to get obstacles, injuries, but don't get discouraged. Keep on working hard. Be disciplined. Because when you work hard and you are disciplined, the game will reward you at the end of the day. That's all I can say.
Brilliant. Thank you. That's going to be a clip for social media, just so you know. That's going straight away. I think the last thing I want to ask you before we get to the quiz is about, I alluded to it there, representing the country. I think last year in the CASAFA Cup, there was a penalty shootout against Mozambique. South Africa lost and then went into the sort of the plate.
Yeah.
And you played in that.
Yeah.
Was that your first time playing for them, or had you played before?
I've played for the under-23 before.
Yeah, but this was the first time.
For Bafana, yeah.
Yes.
For the senior.
And captained.
Yes.
Yes. So I just want to unpack that. You've captained the country so soon out of school. When you found out that you would be representing and captaining your country, what was that like?
Honestly, I was ecstatic. It didn't sink in with me until I think maybe pre-match when we did our team meetings and when they put the team sheet up and I saw a seat next to my name. I was like, wow, actually, this is happening. And yes, I wear the armband on the field, but at the end of the day, we all have to listen to one another. That's what makes us a team. Because if I don't listen to my partner next to me, it doesn't really, make sense, because it wouldn't help me being a dictator and telling everyone where to go. That's not how I would want a team to be. That's not a team environment. So yes, I wear the armband, but it was good. It was an experience, I would say. Definitely to experience it at such a young age was...
Well, I'm hoping one day when I ask, does Kegan Johannes have more or less caps than Benny McCarthy, the answer will be more. That's what we're hoping for.
I would hope so as well.
We're going to go into the quiz now, and you'll have 60 seconds, as many questions correct as you can in that time. The highest score we've had this year and this season is 8. But I just want to say, so when I prepare these quizzes, I always look what our guest is involved in. So you're obviously footballer, played for SuperSport United, Mamelodi Sundowns, played for Bafana Bafana. So I was like, cool, we're going to put in some Olympic questions because it's the Olympics, but we're going to stack it with football. Then we're walking to the studio and you tell me, no, you don't watch football.
Yeah, hey, man.
So can you explain, because it's a fair enough reason, but just why it's difficult for you to actually sit down and just watch a match?
So matches I would watch is probably my own, just to analyze. And that's the problem. When I watch other matches, I tend to analyze it a lot, and then it just takes the joy out of the game.
You can't switch it off.
Yeah, so I'd rather just watch maybe highlights or something like that.
Okay. 60 seconds on the clock. Kegan Johannes, are you ready to play the quiz?
I am. Let's go.
All right. Your time starts now. Which city is currently hosting the 2024 Olympic Games?
France.
City? Capital of France? Okay, it's Paris.
Paris.
Yeah.
Paris,
I'll give it to you. True or false? SuperSport Schools has streamed squash?
True.
That's correct. Who won the 2024 T20 Cricket World Cup?
Sri Lanka.
India. Which country will the Springboks play in their next test match, New Zealand or Australia?
Australia.
Correct. If a player directly kicks the ball into their own goal at an indirect free kick, what is awarded?
A penalty.
Tough one, it's a corner. Who did England beat in their men's Euros semi-final?
Netherlands.
Correct. In rugby, a fly-off is usually associated with what number?
7.
It's 10. What was the name of the 2010 FIFA World Cup ball?
Kabulani.
Correct. And then the last question, how long in meters is an Olympic swimming pool?
How long in meters?
Yeah.
50 meters.
Yeah, correct. Got 6.
Funny thing is,
which is very good.
Funny thing is, most of the things you know if you ask me like this, but when there's pressure, what am I saying?
Yeah. I was about to give you France because, I mean, it's being hosted in France, obviously, but city is Paris. And then you did get India, but I'd already said India, so can't give that one. But 6 is very good. Congratulations, well done.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, earlier when we were walking here saying, what if I get 0 in both?
Hey.
Hasn't happened before, and you've smashed it, so it's not happening today.
I wouldn't have ruled it out, though. I wouldn't have ruled it out.
No, I'm glad. I'm very glad. I mean, that would be quite entertaining, but wouldn't want that. So thanks so much for joining me and chatting about your journey so far. I'm hoping, and I know everyone at SuperSport Schools is excited to see where you go from here. Just anything else you'd like to add before we wrap up?
Thank you so much for having me. I think my brother actually plays in the GDL. So he's always on SuperSport School. So hopefully I get to see him on here as well, one day.
And let me actually jump in. So he's on GDL. You get to see him. It's streamed. It's on TV. I mean, versus when you were maybe younger playing, how cool is that the youngsters are on TV?
No. Hey, usually when I was younger, the moment you hear you're going to be on TV, you would tell the whole family. Now for the younger kids, it's every week. Every week they get to be on TV, But I just hope they stay humble and, stay under the radar. Don't let it get to your head, because once it gets to your head, it becomes a problem. And yeah, just stay humble and keep on doing what you're doing, and you'll be okay.
I think it's an excellent exposure for so many players, because GDL every Sunday, there's so much of it there that we're seeing all the new talents come through, and they're also going to be coming through. I think more and more younger players are going to be coming to into the system. But yeah, thanks so much for joining us, and it's been great having you on. I'm sure we'll chat in the future, especially with the UnderArmour connection, seeing how your Sundowns beginning goes, and yeah, we're excited to follow that. So thanks so much.
Thank you so much. Actually, one more thing. I hope that one day the GDL coverage, or it would go to Cape Town. I think that would be nice.
No, I'm also it's home for both of us. We want it there. We want it there.
So hopefully one day, the kids that side would get the opportunity. But it's a long way to go, and SuperSport's always doing the best and doing them the most. So hopefully it's in the pipeline. You never know.
Absolutely. Cool. Thanks so much.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of the SuperSport Schools podcast, brought to you by Spur. Remember, as we've been talking about the GDL, all that football action, you can catch it on SuperSport Schools, stream it, watch it on TV. Also, football on 216, which is obviously on channel 216, where you can find out everything that's been happening over the past week in terms of football. But for now, from the SuperSport Schools podcast, I'll see you next week when we begin our Women's Month coverage with an interview with World Rugby referee Amy Barrett-Caron. Until then, bye-bye.
This has been the SuperSport Schools podcast, bringing you stories of our future stars, powered by Spur State Ranchers.